Okay. Hello, Facebook. So, unfortunately, I have no idea what happened. I did my whole talk on Instagram thinking I was still talking to you guys, and my internet connection sucked. So I'm not sure if it's because my boys are gaming downstairs and that's why the internet cut me off. So I'm gonna do this whole talk over again because it's on Instagram and I was trying to save it and you can't do that. So I'm gonna try all over again. Salut Joël! How are you? Okay, we're gonna go live again. Man, and I was so excited. I was like, this is cool, but then I was wondering why it was so quiet here. So I just need to know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Thumbs up if you can see me. Is this playing? Anybody? Or is this not working? Okay, it's good. It's good, it's good. You guys hear me? We're good. So I'm debating if I should just delete the other video, but you know what? I'm just gonna leave it because I'm lazy. So this is part 2. Let's get into the real juice of tonight's Mindset Monday. We're gonna talk about resentment. Man, it finished so horribly on the other video. I just need to make sure that you guys are good. You hear me good? I see you. Oh, sweet. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we are going to get right into resentment. Why I think it's important we're talking about resentment, especially around this time of year, is because it is the most stressful time of year. Families come together, people come together, and life, right? So resentment. Now let me see if this is... I let Loic make YouTube videos with my tripod, and now it's all loose. Okay, so resentment. That's like the thing that really comes between two people, okay? It's like a poison. So there'll be like a drift in the relationship, and that drift will be caused mostly by unmet expectations or by miscommunication or by us not telling the other person what we need, what we want, right? So we expect them to be mind readers and we're unable to do that. So let's get right into the juice tonight. So the reason I think it's important that we talk about resentment and how for us to show up better in our lives and be the best of us possible is because we have that opportunity. This is an incredible opportunity for us to take this, all these hardships or whatever it is that we're going through, and flip it on us and figure out how we can be better. So basically, we're like house plants. We need water, we need air, sunlight, and we have a lot of emotions, right? All messed up. It's very, very complex. So I want to give 3 tips on what you can do, how you can show up differently in your relationships so that you don't have to struggle anymore. Right? So if something has happened, or maybe, you know, you're the one who's holding a resentment on somebody or somebody else has one on you, whatever it may be, these are still going to help you. So yeah, I consider resentment like a poison, honestly. I don't feel that it does anything good to enrich a relationship. I honestly feel the drift will just keep getting bigger. So if it's because we have unmet expectations, then that's on us to really dive deep and understand why do we have these expectations and talk it out with the other person. If it's miscommunication, then we sit down and we have the messy, like, let's go. And again, speak your truth. People can't read your minds. So even though we'd like them to, sometimes it's just not possible. So let me give you three action steps that you can take right now and start using. And it doesn't just have to be with resentment either. It could be with any other thing you're going through. The first is going to be positive, unconditional positive regard. So it's like giving the benefit of the doubt. So let me give you the perfect example for that. I drive on the highway all the time in my day job, all the time. Now somebody cuts you off. A lot of times, many people, me included, can flip it to the negative instantly. Oh my God, what a psycho, you know, they cut me off in traffic, like why are they driving like a maniac? You might start flipping some birds, like get really upset, okay? But if I were to give you a different scenario, what if I were to give you background information and tell you that that person cut in front of you because they had to get to the hospital, either because their parent was sick and dying on their deathbed, or because they're not well. Like if you flip the story, give yourself a different piece of information to see that story in a different light, change the perception of the story, would you be as upset with that person? No, you would see that person cut in front of you, and if you practice this mindset of benefit of the doubt, you would say, oh my gosh, I really hope that they get there safely. Like, make room, people, get them to where they're going. I feel like this tripod is off. So, benefit of the doubt, it's something that you can apply for anything actually in life. Benefit of the doubt, always, always, always. Another good example I like to use is, let's say you go to a party and you see like a bunch of women already like in a clique. So they're already in a clique and they're already talking, but you walk in. Now, benefit of the doubt, well, first, before we do benefit of the doubt, you walk in, they stop talking, they look at you. If we go right to the negative, and I mean the human brain likes to do that, okay? Again, our brains aren't made to make us happy, they're made to keep us alive, so we're always looking for danger, right? So you would see this, and automatically you might think, why are they looking at me like that? Like, what's with their problem? Or whatever mood, whatever state you can put yourself in. If I tell you practice benefit of the doubt, what if they're like, who's that girl? Who is she? Do you guys know her? Like, who is she? And if you giving yourself that, you want to get something, babe? That's all right. You giving yourself the benefit of the doubt, giving them the benefit of the doubt, just walk up to them and say, hey, I'm Crystal. Nice to meet you. Right? Wouldn't that be a different story? It would change the situation. So we don't always have to go right to the negative. This is basically what it's about. Give the benefit of the doubt, always. And it's a practice. It is a skill that you can practice and get better at. All right, number 2. So that's action step 1. Action step 2. I want you, sorry, Zach, I'm in your way. I was supposed to be done my videos, but it stopped filming. Okay, step number 2. We, as humans, love stories. We can tell the difference between the beginning, the middle, and the end. And our brains are wired to fill in blanks if they are missing. Okay, so there's always, I like to say there's always 3 sides of the truth. There's always 3 sides of a story. There's your perception, their perception, and then the real truth. So just because it's your truth doesn't mean it's the truth. So what's important to note about this is, and this is a skill that I use in my house. This is a strategy that we use all the time. And I call it stories, like the story in my head. All cards on the table, all stories on the table. The reason I like this strategy better than I feel like this when you do this is because I feel it's less attacking. So, story in my head. A perfect example would be, let's say, like I'll use my son Loic because he can do this skill and he's 8. Let's say that I've been hard on him, nagging at him to put away his school bag, get his homework done, make his lunch, whatever, and he's feeling like my energy and probably taking it in and telling himself another story in his head, right? And I mean, kids, like, they're just like us, right? They can make anything into a story and spiral down with it. So if I were to ask him and I see him start acting abruptly, or maybe he gets cold and you know, pushes me away or whatever, and I could just ask him, like, what's the story in your head, Loic? He can then tell me, well, the story in my head is, I feel like I'm not doing a good job, or I feel like, yeah, I'm not behaving, or whatever, the story in his head. Now, the reason I think that this is super awesome, and it's a tool and it's scary AF, you have to be super brave, because you need to be able to speak what your truth is, with what your story is in your head, and let the pieces fall as they may. So you have to be willing to just release the control. You speak your truth, like the story in your head. And again, I mean, if you're coming at somebody and you're saying, you know what, like, I have to talk to you, I'm really scared to share this with you because I don't want to hurt your feelings, or I need to tell you, like, the story in my head, but I just need you to get it, like, but I'm afraid to share it. I mean, if somebody were to come at you with that, they're like super vulnerable. There's no way that you would turn around and get ready to go to war. There's no way. You would automatically be like, okay, let's talk. What is it? What's going on? So when we do things like that, the story in our heads, it just allows the other person to say, oh my gosh, yes, your story is correct. Or actually, no, it's way off. Or actually, maybe we need to talk, right? So Again, it's a scary tool, but I mean, if you're in a relationship and it's really worth it to you, you need to be willing to go into the messy, okay? Because sometimes we spiral off with things and it's not even accurate. Like, it's a skewed version of what our truth is. So you have to be able to do that turnaround. So yeah, that's a technique that I read in one of Brene Brown's books, all about, the stories in our head. We make stories up all the time, not because we're crazy, it's just how we do it. That's how our brain is wired. And when we're able to realize like the story that's on replay in our head and share it with the other person that we're maybe having an issue with, or just share it, period, to get it out, you're able to talk some light into it, instead of making it go into a shame spiral, right? So it's really, really, it's a different technique. It's scary, 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 scary. But again, I mean, you gotta be brave. You just gotta do it. You gotta own it. And you have to be willing to let the other person live the full experience. You trying to control it and you trying to not, you deciding not to speak is going to continue to build more resentment. That's what you need to be aware of. Number 3, what you're gonna do. This is another cool technique as the toast is popping. You got it, buddy? You're going to write a letter to the person. Now, you're not gonna give it to the person. You're gonna write a letter to the person and it's gonna be uncensored. You are gonna go balls to the walls, let all the feels out, you get it all out, all of it. This is a cool technique that you can use for people who have already passed, or I mean the rip is so bad in the relationship that you just know that it's not gonna repair right away. I mean, there's always hope, don't lose hope, but it's where it is. This is an awesome technique. Uncensored letter, let it all out. But the caveat here, like the real magic, is you're gonna have that person write back to you. So you're gonna write from their perspective of what their truth was. Now, it could be an apology letter, or it could be an explanation, whatever it is, but you're gonna have to go there. And you might have to write it more than once to get the feels out, but it's necessary. And then what you do with these letters is you're going to drown them. There is something so beautiful to watch the letters and your words just float up from the paper in the water. It's really, really cool. So write it, drown it. Watch like the ink, just, it's an awesome healing process. A lot of people say burn things. I say when it's hurting like that, drown it. Watch those letters, watch the paper just disintegrate, watch it get all mushy, and you might have to do it more than once. So when it comes to resentment, honestly, like, you cannot control how another person decides to show up in their life. You cannot. But you can only control how you show up. And the only constant in life is that it's constantly changing. So some people come in and out of our lives, and that's okay. I mean, it's what it is. But you need to be able to do the work that's necessary so that you can be your best self. So yeah, so that is basically what I was sharing on Instagram when my Facebook got cut off. And it's not a fun subject, talking about resentment, all these dark feelings, but it is necessary, especially around this time of year. I mean, family, sometimes friends, sometimes it's hard, right? I mean, families, I like to say families are, it's a quote from Dave Ramsey. He says families are how does he say it? They're crazy because there's people in them. Like, it's just what it is. Like, it's dealing with what it is, breathing it out, have the feels. And if you really do need to instead of going to judgment, it's always best to switch it to curiosity. But if you do need to have a good vent session, I would say go to your closest gals, get with the closest ones, and then allow like a 5-minute vent session. That's it. Just let it out. But then you need to give yourself a good 10 minutes to work up, spin it to the positive. Because if you just stay in the negative, like, it's just going to stay in the negative. It's just like, if somebody cuts you off in traffic in the morning, how long does it take you to come back down from that? Sometimes some people, it can stay with them all day. right? So it's really about how you're going to decide to switch those internal states, that mindset, right? And it's not about being self-righteous and better than anybody else. It's just, don't you want to live like, I mean, I know for me, it doesn't have to be a struggle. It shouldn't be a struggle. So things happen as they are meant to happen. And as long as you own up to what things were, and another thing that I think is important to note is forgiveness. If you have ever done something and you're still carrying that, and you've already apologized, or maybe you haven't, start there. Maybe it's time to let that go, because guilt and shame don't serve us. And a lot of women I know will carry other people's guilt because they think they have to. But I'm gonna tell you, just put that down. Just put it down, it doesn't serve you. You do you. And that's what I got. So I'm not sure, I followed the same outline. Thank goodness I have notes. It was probably more funny on Instagram, I don't know. But if anybody has any techniques to tell me, like tech tricks, like if I am, doing if I do IG and Facebook at the same time, can my kids not game? Or, because, yeah, the connection, I have no clue. But that's all I got for you ladies today. I know, it's crazy. I am now going to go watch This Is Us and fold my towels. Don't forget, if you have questions for monthly momentum, I forgot to mention on the first video that with your workouts, you get like a little video tutorial of the workouts and of the mobility stuff, and you get a playlist from Spotify just to keep the motivation going. So if you have questions about that, let me know. And if you haven't grabbed Stack the Wins, it's free. Go get it. You want to email me what your goals are. You need help to reverse engineer what the little steps are to get to your goal. Start a new job. Start an online business. That's something that I'm working on too for late 2018, is helping other women start online businesses, like how to start a blog and how to start YouTube videos and just how to start. So that's coming. I'll be taking on a select few students just to run them through. I've been doing it for 2 years, and I had an amazing business coach, Jill Coleman, for 2 years. I learned incredible stuff, and I wouldn't be doing this stuff if I hadn't invested in myself. So, and yeah, that is about it. Next week, we're going to talk about motivation, because I'm giving a talk this week on motivation, and I can't wait. So I'm going to talk motivation next week, and then we're going to just continue finishing off 2017 strong. We're gonna kick butt. So that's all I got, ladies. If you haven't watched This Is Us, man, do yourself a favor. So good. Okay, that's all I got. Peace, love, have a good one. Night.